Let's roll now to number 20. They had it.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Chicago Bears coming in number 20 with the biggest loss of the weekend in terms of comebacks. 21 points to the Packers in the fourth quarter.
Nagy, run the football.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
They marched down that field with Jordan Howard, and then they went shotgun and threw it. Run the football.
And I want to
give it to Howard. You get that first down and you win.
And I want to also point this out because people were freaking out about this when they were in the red zone. I think it was either third or fourth down. People were freaking out because one of the edge rushers for the Packers was able to cover Tariq Cohen out of the backfield. And, it was a nice play by him, but I love Tariq Cohen. He's on my fantasy team. I think he's a great player. You have Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller. Trey Burton is a fantastic tight end.
He's non-existent in week one.
Along with Taylor Gabriel. And on probably the most important play of the game, you're targeting a 5'7" running back out of the backfield?
Should have run the ball anyway. Doesn't matter.
Or at least target one of the three targets that you paid a ridiculous amount of money to in the offseason. This is a very weird play call from me. Let's go to number 19, the soon-to-be second-place team in the NFC East, even though both Tom and producer Brett think I'm crazy. The New York Giants, who fell victim to the same thing they've been falling victim to the past two seasons.
Being bad at football.
No, they're not bad at football. It's called the Eli Manning disease because Eli Manning is bad at football.
Okay, that's basically what I meant.
But Saquon was great.
We told you this, despite a mediocre offensive line.
Yes.
I tried to warn you on this, Harris. You can't trust Eli Manning.
Nope.
So the Giants actually go up a little bit because other teams below them had lost, and unusual to see a team that lost lose. But I think that they're much more like a top 10 team because they did put up a good fight against Jacksonville.
They did.
They put up a very good fight. I was actually relatively impressed by how the Giants played, especially for not having Vernon.
And also, I was
that's a big deal.
That defense, that linebacker core, and that secondary looks much better than it does last year. Janoris Jenkins looks like he's actually trying again. Isn't it great to see Janoris Jenkins trying? For once.
And by the way, I put the Bears and the Giants next to each other because they were two teams that impressed me despite losing in week one.
Yeah, one more thing
about played better than I thought they were going to.
One quick thing about Saquon Barkley. His entire career is going to be this. So he had 18 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, 68 of that 106 came from one run.
That's who he is, though.
But that's what he's going to be. And people were freaking out about that. That's going to be his entire career.
That's what he was at Penn State. Yeah. It was bottleneck, boom, big play.
Yeah.
1 yard, 2 yard, boom, big play. That's who Saquon Barkley is, especially for the Giants and their not so great offensive line. It's a big play threat.
The Odell-Jalen Ramsey matchup, Odell with 11 catches for 111 yards. So I think Odell got the win there. Those Jags did get the win on Sunday. Let's go to number 18 on our NFL Power Rankings. Might be a little bit high here. Tom, I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more week.
That's
Dallas
fair.
Cowboys at number 18. They looked like crap.
They did. If the Cowboys lose to the Giants again in week 2, we'll plummet them.
No, I will say this.
Who are you going to put them, though?
I will say this.
Who you can put ahead of them?
They were in that was probably the best possible advantage that a Carolina Panthers team could have had because they were at home. The weather was crappy, so they knew that the Cowboys were going to try to run the ball. Once the Cowboys realized they couldn't because it was raining, they were stacking it with 8 in the box.
And the offensive line does not start well for Dallas in the first 2 weeks.
If there was I know I'm probably going to be called out as a Cowboys excuse artist here, but there was no way the Cowboys could have won that game. It was pouring. That was a game built for the Panthers to win.
Feels like hyperbole, but I do get to your overall point there.
Yeah.
I do get your point.
And also, any time that Dak Prescott's throwing the ball 40 times and Zeke's running it 15, it's not great. It's not what you're looking for.
He didn't throw 40
How many times did he throw the ball?
29.
29? It's still not good. You never wanted to double up.
A little bit high.
Sorry, I had an extra decimal. I thought it was 30. Wait, they only ran 45 offensive plays?
They also gave the ball to other halfbacks.
That's wild. That's not great. Predict the Cowboys record in the comments section below. Tom, how many wins? Are you still sticking with?
I'm still sticking around 9-7 now because I thought they were going to win 10. They lost to the Panthers, so I'll dock them 1. Yikes. I do think that they beat the Giants, though, which is also why they're ahead of the Giants in power rankings.
Oh, God. The Giants are going to become second place, and the Cowboys are just going to be sad.
Absolutely not.
Let's go to number 17. Probably the weirdest loss for any team. The Tennessee Titans dropping all the way from 10 to 17. Lost to the Dolphins on the road in the longest NFL game in history. But they're down Delaney Walker now. Mariota is now a little bit banged up. Taylor Lewan, their left tackle, is also banged up. Probably the worst case scenario for the Titans coming out of week 1.
So we were definitely high on Tennessee. Even Cam Ryder was even higher on Tennessee than I was. And I thought I was pretty high on the Titans because they were a regression candidate, and they looked like a regression team in week 1. Now, it's tough for me to make a definitive statement on Tennessee. Obviously, it's week 1. We're not going to overreact necessarily. But Mariota got hurt. It was a weird game, like you mentioned. That was weird. Like I don't like chalking stuff up to fluke games after week 1 because it feels like a cop-out. But given the way that game went, kind of close to a fluke game, I thought. So I will give the Titans a little bit of a break, but I'm still going to drop them all the way down to 17. And if they lose again against the Texans, they probably won't be in the top 20 next week.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
All right, if you want to bet on NFL games this year, go to chatsports.com/bet. I do it. Tom does it. Producer Brett does it. We have hundreds of people who are using this deal. Use promo code LIVE120 to get a 120% deposit bonus. Tom, this is such a crazy deal. I can't even believe that we're being offered it.
You won't get it anywhere else. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE20 for a 120% deposit bonus. If you don't know what that means, it means if you put down $100, they'll give you a 120 for free for a grand total of $220. That promo code LIVE120.
All right, Tom, let's go through a little recap here of our NFL power rankings before we get into the top half of the NFL. Bills, Cardinals, Colts, Browns taking on the caboose of our power rankings. Then it's the Raiders, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Lions, 25 through 28. Let's go 21 to 24. Redskins, Bucks, Bengals, and the Seahawks. And then finally, the Titans, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Chicago Bears. Probably the disappointing teams of the week list right there.
Well, the top two, Titans, Cowboys, Giants, Bears.
I think the Giants were a disappointment.
They gave a good game against the Jags. Did you think that they were going to win?
I think they could have if they didn't flub the punt at the end of the game.
Ending disappointment. How about that?
That's how I would say it with the Bears.
Yes, ending disappointments. How about that?
Let's go to number 16. Let's get into the top half of the NFL. Denver Broncos. Case Keenum with a really interesting game in his debut with the Broncos. 3 touchdowns, but he also had 3 picks.
Not going to slide them up too much, but they did win, so they'll move into the top half of the NFL. And frankly, I thought we were a little bit higher on Denver than most. I did think they were going to beat Seattle. I'll mention this as well. I expect Denver to take a big leap next week, because at home against the Raiders, Denver does very, very well at home in the beginning of the season. Think back to last year. Same exact situation, and then things kind of fell apart. I like Denver this week against the Raiders. That's one of my locks of the week on BetDSI.
I like that too. I like the Broncos. I think they played really well, and it was also, it was great to see also. I think last year with how bad the Broncos were, we kind of forgot how amazing Von Miller is at football. And then finally, national television again with him, Broncos, Seahawks, big game. He balled out. He is still probably the best defensive player in the NFL outside of Aaron Donald. I know we always say Khalil Mack, but man, give me Von Miller any day of the week. Let's go to number 15 on our list. I told you this was going to happen. This happens every single year. Texans versus Patriots. And the Patriots win again. 27-20.
But no one argued that here.
I know, it's fine. I'm not saying you had to, but it happened again. This always happens.
Yeah.
We hype up the Texans. They go up against the Patriots, and they lose. Every single year. No different this year.
Still a close game against a really good football team. I'm not going to dock them too much. But again, I do have concerns about that offensive line, which is something that we've said from the beginning of the year. Now they lost their right tackle, Central Henderson. He's going to miss an extended period of time. It's week 2. I know you don't believe September football matters. This is pretty close to a borderline must-win matchup. Like, if Houston starts the year 0-2 with a loss to the Patriots and the Titans, that puts them behind the 8
ball. Do you know what? The one time that September football doesn't matter is wave division matchups. Division matchups always waive that concept because that really does matter for a lot of tiebreakers. But Patriots losing to the Panthers last year, like, who cares? Like, it's an out-of-conference game. Are you worried about Deshaun Watson? I mean, he did not look good for the first 3 quarters of that game.
I'm worried about his health.
Yeah.
He is going to, and I'm worried about his confidence and his pocket poise because he's playing behind a really bad offensive line. We've seen other quarterbacks, generally, if you want to get a quarterback off his game and force him to struggle, you get pressure on him.
Yep.
Watson's going to face a lot of pressure this year. Now, his mobility is going to help him out in a big way, but beyond Russell Wilson, you have a tough time finding quarterbacks, and maybe Aaron Rodgers too, that deal just as well with pressure as without pressure.
Yeah.
So I am concerned about it from that end. His talent-wise, not really. It's the pieces around him, namely on that offensive line.
As someone who's watched that game about 3 times over, if the only word I can really use to describe Deshaun Watson's first game back, timid. That's the word I'll use.
It's a fair word. That's fair. I think it's fair.
Let's go to number 14 now. Another year, another Chargers loss in the division, and another year where they're probably not going to do anything despite having the most talent in the division. Lose to the Chiefs 38-28 at home. They looked completely overmatched against a first year starting NFL quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill did some nasty things to them.
They really miss Joey Bosa.
Yeah, they do.
Like in a big way. Like that defense is not the same without him. By the way, I saw this play on Twitter. Chargers coming out in one of their exotic looks on 3rd down. They got one pass rusher right now in Melvin Ingram. Guess what they did on third down?
What they do?
They had Melvin Ingram drop 25 yards back into coverage. That's just bad coaching. Like, why is that even in the playbook? So I am raising the panic meter a little bit more on the Chargers. I'm not hitting the button yet, but I'm getting closer to hitting it.
That's
because
fine.
Without Bosa, the offense was fine, but the defense had clear issues.
Also, Tyra Williams and Travis Rudolph, you have one job. It's called catch deep balls.
Yes.
Don't drop deep balls. That was really bad. Let's go to number 13, the Baltimore Ravens. Tom, I already said they were going to be a wild card team because that's just what the Ravens do. I'm not jumping on the hype train yet. They beat the Bills 47-3, the worst team in football in the rain. This team is terrible. Like the Bills are terrible.
I know it was the Bills, and they're terrible.
Flipping out.
But I'm still going to put them at 13. I'm not going to put them in the top 10 like some did online. But I put them at 13 because who are we going to put above them? Like Denver was the only team I would even remotely consider, and even them, I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess they're probably the worst of the teams that won in terms of like the upper end talent of the NFL. Like, I don't think they're better than the Panthers, who we have ahead of them.
Yeah.
I don't think they're better than, even the Falcons, who lost. I still think the jury's out on the Chiefs because, boy, are we on the Chiefs roller coaster already.
We'll get to them, yeah.
We're going to the top, people. This is the climb. All right?
Yeah.
This is the climb to the top before the great fall.
We might look really dumb in like 5 hours if Baltimore ends up losing this game against the Bengals, which I think
plausible.
is a bit of a possibility.
Very plausible.
I loved what I saw from them, though, pretty much across the board. Like, Flacco looked great. And I know it's the Bills, but they still looked really, really good. So I'm not going to put them top 10 yet. I know you're not either, but 13 seems fair to me. Maybe you guys in the comment section
I think fair
disagree.
is a good way to go. One thing I also want to say about the Baltimore Ravens, like their defense, I think looked way better in this game than they actually are. I think they're going to come back down to earth. They have a lot of new faces on that defense. Like Tavon Young is not going to get 2 sacks a game.
No, he's not. He's not. But I mean, the Bills' offensive line is bad, and I do think though that this is a quality Ravens team, and
this is a playoff team.
You know what? We might look back in a month or two, and I'm going to go. You know what? I was too low on Baltimore to begin the year, and I will take the L there.
I'm always going to say that this is a 9-7, 10-6 Ravens team, and that's just what they've always been. So this is one of their 9 or 10 wins that was going to come this year, obviously. Let's go to number 12. You could not have scripted a more Carolina Panthers game for the Carolina Panthers to win. It was rainy, it was cold. Cam Newton was the best player in the football field. They scored a touchdown and grinded out the rest of the game on the ground. That's all they did.
It wasn't even a pretty game.
No, it was disgusting.
This was probably one of the ugliest wins in week.
This is a Riverboat Ron win. That's how they win games with him.
I'm going to move them up, obviously, because they won. They'll go to 12. They're still going to be in playoff contention, which is what I said from the beginning. I still don't trust this team, and in large part because now Darrell Williams is hurt again. The offensive line is banged up even more than it was to start the year. That's a concern.
Do they have the best front seven in football?
No.
No?
They have a good front seven.
They don't really have an Everson Griffin. They have Quan Short, though.
Quan Short's great. I think he's actually one of the under players in the NFL. I don't think they have the best front seven. Well, they have a very, very good one. Makes up for an iffy secondary, but
I'd say top 3 at least.
I'm still thinking Jacksonville, Minnesota, Eagles if everyone gets healthy. I think those teams.
I think Carolina has the better linebackers, but I'll give you Minnesota definitely. And Jacksonville, I think I'll also give you to them, but they just don't have like a Luke Kuechly. Like they don't have like the like number 2 or 3 linebacker in the NFL.
Miles Jack might be there real soon.
But he's not
real
Luke.
soon.
He's not Luke. He's not the best linebacker in the NFL. Who still is Luke Kuechly, mind you. All right, let's jump away from the Carolina Panthers. Let's go to a team. Look, we warned you. We warned you to watch out for the hype train on this team, and do you know what it was? It was clear to me that they were just beaten by an elite NFL football team.
Yes.
And the Niners just aren't quite there yet.
And you know what? I still move them up. You know why? Because I cannot put the Panthers above them because the Panthers win was ugly. The Niners played badly. I'm not going to put the Panthers above them right now. I'm not doing it. And then, by the way, my issue overall with the way we did power rankings and the way as I approached this, I'm like, oh, man, spots like 7 through 12 are a mess.
Yeah, they're absolutely
like the teams that were there last week lost games. How far do you drop them? Like they all lost.
We had a tie.
The teams like from 12 to 15 had issues. Like that middling half of the NFL, like in terms of like poor potential playoff teams, surprised me in the way they play. Like the Titans were around this spot.
Yeah.
You have to drop them further.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's why the Niners went up a little bit.
Garoppolo, to me, I know, like this has been the Jimmy Garoppolo apologist tour this entire week of people saying, oh, he didn't look that, but he looked completely overmatched behind an offensive line that did not have their stuff together.
Vikings are a
no
good team,
running
by the
game
way.
to speak of. Like that's just what it was. Like sometimes elite teams beat teams who aren't elite, and that's what happens. The Vikings are just a better football team than the Niners.
The
Are
Niners
you still
are
in
gonna,
on them?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Like nothing that happened in week 1 is going to make me alter one team too drastically, except maybe Detroit. Maybe I'll change my tune on the Lions, but I'm not going to be a week 1 flip-flopper. I still think the Niners, and we saw some people have them at like 8 or 9 on their rankings. I've always thought that 10 to 12 range is where they should be. It doesn't change after week 1 for me.
I'm keeping my prediction on the Niners. They're 8-8, and that's if you're a Niners fan out there and they go 8-8, you should be worlds happy with that, seeing about what's happened with you guys the past couple of seasons. We've been talking a lot about elite football teams. Tom, do you know what is truly elite?
What?
These Mizzen main shirts.
There you go.
They're
Yeah, they are.
unbelievable. Head to comfortable.af for the most comfortable dress shirts that you will find anywhere, anywhere on the internet and also in retail stores around the country.
Oh, and they're made in America, by the way, because the
USA.
URL does check out. These shirts are indeed comfortable AF.
Tom repping that red, white, and blue today.
Yeah.
I'm just going blue and white. I'm a slacker. Sorry, guys.